All right, we're going to go through our quadrilaterals like we did yesterday. We had a little bit of difficulty, especially with the attributes of different quadrilaterals. So we're going to spend a little bit of time today going over the attributes and the different types of quadrilaterals. I have here a PowerPoint created by a couple other teachers that are going to guide us through this. So we're going to take a little bit of time today to talk about quadrilaterals. So quick review. There are many different ways, there are many different types of quadrilaterals. We identify quadrilaterals using their sides and angles. So obviously quad means four, lateral means sides. So anything with four sides. That was our first part of our question yesterday. What is a quadrilateral? And what are some characteristics or attributes? And that's where we had a really hard time with. So we're going to spend a little time today going over that. All polygons are made up of line segments and angles. So that was one of our A's. So in our LAP acronym, LAP, the A stood for angles. So we can see that sometimes the angles create right angles, which create perpendicular lines. Here we see an acute angle. And here we see the opposite lines, which are parallel. So that was the P in our acronym. So we had length of sides as L, A for the type of angles that are created, and also P for parallel sides. The angles that make up polygons will be right, acute, and obtuse. And that's something that we've talked about earlier in the year with our dog biting my dear old granny's tushy. Here is the acute angle. It is pinched in. There is the box angle, which usually has a symbol of a box in it. And here is our obtuse angle, which opens up. All things we should know, so a very quick review before we get into the different types of quadrilaterals. Squares is a quadrilateral that has four equal sides and four right angles. All right, so on on a square, we know that all of the lengths of these are equal. They all must be equal to be a square. We also know that there must be right angles. So a square has equal, all sides are equal, and it has four right angles. Then if we're looking at the parallel sides, the top is parallel to the bottom, and the left is parallel to the right. So it has two pairs of parallel sides. Rectangles are a close relative of squares. It's a quadrilateral that has two pairs of parallel sides that are equal and has four right angles. So it's kind of like a square, but it's been stretched out so that all four sides are not the same length. It still has four right angles like a square, but the lengths are not all the same. The top length is equal to the bottom length. The left length is equal to the right length, but they're not all the same. So as we learned yesterday, a square is a type of rectangle, but a rectangle is not a type of square. Rhombuses. A rhombus is a quadrilateral that has four equal sides and two pairs of parallel sides. So it's kind of like a square that has been squashed down. You can kind of imagine someone sitting on a square and squashing it down. Now all the sides are the same length. So when you're comparing it to a square, it has that in common, that all four sides are the same length. Now what has different than a square is notice the angles here. This is an acute angle. This is an obtuse angle. A square has four right angles. This does not. What it has the same as a square is this left side is parallel to the right side, and this top side right here is parallel to the bottom side. So it has two pairs of parallel sides. And I like how this slide here shows us, it says it has four congruent sides. Congruent means that they're all equal. So this line is congruent to that, which means equal length. Trapezoids. To be a trapezoid, it's a quadrilateral that has one pair of parallel sides. This trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides. Can you identify which two sides are parallel? Obviously, this side and the right side are not parallel. And someone might say, well, they don't touch, Mr. Klaus. Well, remember, lines go on forever in both directions. So this line is eventually going to intersect with that line right there. They don't touch in the shape, but they're going to, because we know that lines go on forever in both directions. Now, if we look at the top and we we look at the bottom, now if they go on forever in both directions, they're never going to touch. The top is parallel to the bottom. And there are many, many different types of trapezoids. So to be a trapezoid, all you have to have is one pair of parallel sides. Parallelograms, it's something that we did not talk about yesterday. It did not come up in our lesson. So a parallelogram is a quadrilateral that has two pairs of parallel sides. So obviously any polygon that has two pairs of parallel sides. So the top is parallel to the bottom. Even though it's squished over and it's slanted, the left is still parallel to the right. All right. So a rectangle is a type of parallelogram. A square is a type of parallelogram because they both have two pairs of parallel sides. And then quadrilaterals. With your newly found knowledge, you will be able to identify the quadrilaterals everywhere. Try it out on these. So take a moment, and can you name all of these types of quadrilaterals? So go ahead and pause it. Just in your mind, go over what they have, pause it and answer. So here we have a parallelogram, a rectangle, a rhombus, a trapezoid, a square, and this one is a trapezoid. It has a left and the right, which are parallel. Hopefully that helped you understand some of the attributes of quadrilaterals. I'm going to go ahead and end this before I run out of time.